lifelong best friends. Take turns picking topics, then they see where it ends. So wild, it's weird, and sometimes specific. Whatever it is, you know it will be terrific. It's Hyperfixation Time.
Hey everyone, welcome to Hyperfixation Time. I'm Danny.
And I'm Erin.
And today it's Erin's turn to take us down a rabbit hole she hasn't been stopping thinking about. And I don't know what it's going to be. I have no idea. But Erin's sunglasses, if you're watching the video, are really intriguing me. I don't know if this is going to be part of her microfixation or her hyperfixation today, but she is looking like, I don't know, you're looking very mysterious.
Good. That was the
purpose. Like a secret disguise or something. I don't know.
Maybe I'm like in the CIA or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My husband Dwight saw you and he was like, "Did Erin get laser eye surgery?" I was like, "Yes, but like a year ago."
Yeah.
Or more.
I wouldn't still be wearing glasses then.
Yes.
I'm wearing them because I think it'll give away part of my topic. So I wanted to be mysterious for a little bit, and mystery might be part of my topic too. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. We'll find out together. So yeah, I mean, do you have anything that you wanted to update us on today? Any sorts of catch-ups?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything. Do you?
I just wanted to let everybody know that Neatos make a great gift. If you haven't already gathered from our podcast that me and Erin love the Neato brand, which if you're watching the video, you can see my little squishy Neatos. One of Erin's died.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to fix it.
Really?
I think there should be a way. I'm not sure though, but we'll see.
So, I mean, we just like to kind of fidget with these and squish them while we're doing the podcast, but also other things to kind of keep us distracted and busy. But for Christmas this year, my son got my husband the bigger version. So if you're watching the video, you can see mine versus his, but his is like really big, which is good because his hands are like twice the size of mine also. But I also got one as part of like a white elephant for my family Christmas last night. And it seemed like a fairly decent hit, you know? Everyone was kind of passing around like, "Oh, look at this."
Good.
You know what I mean?
I know, and you introduced me to these, and this has been the best thing ever. Like even during work meetings, if I need to like pay attention or I'm focusing, like I have to be doing this. And funny enough, I was just listening to the Ologies podcast on ADHD, and
I'm gonna have to listen to that.
Yes, it's a re-release. I think they did it back in like 2020 or 2021.
Okay.
But they had some updated information. They talked about like squish toys and fidget things. I'm like, yeah, I think ADHD is a part of my life as well.
Yeah.
Undiagnosed, but
we're living the undiagnosed ADHD lives over here.
But funny enough, my youngest sister, for our family white elephant gift exchange, also added in a Neato because she's obsessed with them too. So
see,
Neato, if you can sponsor us, we'll gladly keep shouting your praises.
Yes, we will. And Celsius while we're at it.
And Celsius, yeah.
We're both drinking our Celsius.
Need some energy. Do you have a microfixation of the week?
Yes. So I'm excited to announce that the first book that I read this year for 2026 was amazing and a 10 out of 10 for me. And it's called I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. Have you ever heard of it? No. It was published in 1998. Actually, sorry, that date was wrong. 1995. But yeah, it's just been like gaining traction, I think, within the last few years. And it's a book that I've heard of. It's always like in people's top 10 favorite books of the year. And I just like, for whatever reason, have kind of put it off. But I'm trying to kind of like go back and actually read some of the books that like people just always recommend, right? Because like ACOTAR I put off for so long and everyone always would recommend it. And then I was like, once I finally got to it, I was like, oh yeah, this is really good, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think I'm going to kind of try to do that this year is like finally read those books that it's just like everybody recommends this, you know?
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't sound interesting to me, just give it a try. So anyways, it's basically following a character who it's a very dark book.
Okay.
She is living in an underground bunker with 39 other women, and they're basically in like a jail cell. And she is the youngest of these women. the rest of them are kind of older. So she was the only one that was like a child when they got put down there. But at this point in time, she's between like 13 to 16 years old. She's not really sure. But most of her life has been in this underground bunker. And like there's guards basically preventing them from getting out and stuff. And I'm not going to try to spoil anything. But it's a very short book. It's only 6 hours for an audiobook.
Oh.
And it's just like following her and like her perspective on life and like what happens. And it's very much just like you're just kind of following her consciousness. And it's just so well written that you, by the end, I genuinely feel like this was a real person and I just like heard her story. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like it was like autobiographical.
Yeah, but
Is
it's
that the right word?
obviously
But
fiction.
It's
Yeah.
fiction. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. I definitely recommend it. It might not be for everyone, but check it out.
Yeah. I'll add it to my TBR.
Cool.
That's awesome though. Sounds good. I think that you like, I feel like that Annie, what was it? Annie Bot is also kind of like a alternative
Yeah.
distance kind of storyline, I guess.
Well, one thing I was like I'm trying to keep myself from blabbing too much, you know what I mean? But one part of this that I wanted to mention is that I finally realized that like this genre of fiction that I really love is called speculative fiction.
Oh.
So it's kind of like this idea of, well, if society was like this, or if, you know, this person had this certain ability, or if, you know, just if someone's life was like this, what would that be like? And the author just speculates on what that would be like. And I just love when an author really sits down to think about all the minute details in a person's life and like how whatever this thing is, how that would affect it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Like really, really well thought out, but also then like putting themselves in their shoes almost to really be able to tell the story, which is, I think is so important.
What about you? Any microfixations?
My microfixation, I started the show Heated Rivalry.
Okay, I haven't heard of it. No.
Okay, it's on HBO Max.
Okay.
It's not safe for children.
Okay.
It's basically a softcore situation, but it's a very nice love story. It's based off of a book. It's 2 men and like the evolution of their relationship, but I watched it all in one day last weekend because I just got hooked on the storyline. So check it out. It's really cute. Also, warning, it's pretty smutty. Is that the right word? Smutty?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say smutty, spicy. Both of those work.
Yep. Anyway, that's all.
That's all. Okay.
That's all.
Erin's like ready to take her glasses off.
I'm just really nervous about this topic, to be honest.
Okay. I'm so intrigued. In terms of guesses, like for your topic, I have no idea, but I am like, what could your glasses possibly be hiding? There's like only 2 real options that I can see. One being like colorful contacts.
Oh.
And 2 being like somehow your makeup giving away whatever this is.
Oh, good theories.
But they're only theories, not correct?
I don't know.
Okay.
Should I take them off?
Are you ready?
Yeah. I'm ready for the topic.
Okay.
So I did my makeup a lot different.
Okay.
It's a lot darker. I did my hair. I parted my hair to the side.
I see. Are you going to be talking about like either like emo music or like MySpace days, goth phases, something along those lines?
Yep. And
or a band specifically. Okay.
My band t-shirt, but I don't have any from back in the day, but I just wore one from, I don't know, 2016. But it is, today I wanted to dive into the history and just kind of get nostalgic a little bit about like the 2000s, 2010s pop punk era.
I love it. I'm so ready for this. This
it
is
was
great.
actually really fun to do my makeup too. I was like, I kind of like this, do my hair a little different and whatnot. So this is for all the millennials and maybe Gen X people that were around during this time, which I personally think, granted, of course, I'm sure everyone thinks this, but I feel like it was one of the greatest times of music. And I think just also like hit a lot of themes of like emotions and kind of started those conversations a lot of the time too, or thinking differently. So that era definitely was a huge influence on my life and still is.
Yeah.
Sometimes I still think I'm like trying to be the 16-year-old, 15-year-old Erin that wanted to be goth, but like
I feel like there's like a pipeline there, like the scene emo kids to hipster to whatever we are now.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to kind of look into it because it was fun. Yeah, I said, let's just say I miss it and was reminiscing the other day. So I had to do some research.
Yeah.
So we're talking, about the 2000s to 2010s-ish pop punk era and how we got
Cool.
there and what it meant. So
I'm excited.
picture it. It's 2007. You just logged off of MySpace after updating your profile song so all your friends know how cool you are. You turn on MTV, you squeeze into the tightest skinny jeans you have, put on your studded belt and probably a band t-shirt, preferably vintage, straighten your extremely side-swept bangs, smudge that black eyeliner, and jump into your Chucks or Vans or skateboard shoes.
Literally outfit essentials right there.
Yes, that's part of this too. But what's playing in the background if you were in that scene, music wise?
Okay. Can I put a quick disclaimer on this?
Yes.
So my emo preferences were a little bit different than like some of the, not mainstream because that's wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Some of the more stereotypical emo ones, I feel like I kind of gravitated more towards almost like, I don't know if it would be considered emo necessarily as much as like indie pop in a way.
Okay.
Like definitely like MySpace music. I don't know,
bands?
like maybe more upbeat. Well, so I'm thinking of like Cute Is What We Aim For and Play Radio Play, which I feel like they're very similar bands. Like they sound very similar. Would you consider Cute Is What We Aim For an emo band?
That's a good question.
It's like the same era, you know what I mean? Because that's what I would say would be playing in the background of that scene that you just talked about. Also, but I did really like Death Cab for Cutie. I feel like they are definitely emo.
Yep.
But
that's one disclaimer. There's a lot of debate on what's emo versus punk versus pop punk versus indie punk, and I'm probably going to intertwine all of these and not get them 100% right.
And I also even said like the word scene, which is I think more like aesthetic than probably music.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Let me see. For Cute Is What We Aim For, there's some people say yes, emo pop or pop punk. Okay. Some people say no, they're absolutely not emo. It's just I think everyone has their own
opinions
on it. Yeah. So
yeah, I do like those terms though for them, like pop punk or emo punk. I feel like that's what I liked a lot. Yeah, and still like a lot today, and I think it heavily influences my music taste today. 100%. So just like you said. Okay, you go.
Okay. I wanted to hear like what would be in the background. For me, it probably was one that was more mainstream, which was Paramore.
Yeah. Okay.
I still love Paramore. I still listen to them. That Riot album was a big deal to me growing up. So pop punk, I'm going to kind of call it that for the most part. I think pop punk really hit its stride in the 2000s, kind of talking to and pulling in like the angsty teens but also music lovers, emotional people everywhere. They mixed punk rock's intensity with the catchy hooks and emotional lyrics of like the punk side of things. So then they say the genre grew into a full-blown cultural moment that defined a generation. And again, I just feel very nostalgic about that era. It's the rock side of things and attitude and grit, but mixed with like more pop or infectious melodies or lyrics and things like that. It's loud, energetic, guitar riffs that feel, I don't know, just as fun as they are emotional, I guess. So the origins, so pop punk traces its roots back to the late 1970s and early 1980s with bands like the Ramones and the Buzzcocks, which I've never heard of, but
I haven't either, actually.
Yeah, I've heard of the Ramones, of course.
Right.
But they began blending punk rock's fast speed and attitude with those melodies, those catchy melodies. While those early sounds laid the groundwork, the genre didn't really become what we know of it as today until like the 2000s, fueled by the late 1990s with like Nirvana, Blink 182, Green Day, Sum 41. They really helped push pop punk into the mainstream. And they're still around too. Blink-182 is still around. Green Day.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really listen to Sum 41 too much, so I'm sure that
Mm-mm.
they're still around or something. But Good Charlotte, Newfound Glory, Taking Back Sunday, Jimmy Eat World. Those were some of the big ones in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
But as mentioned, I kind of wanted to talk about the clothing and styling because that's a huge part of this genre.
Totally.
And it does still, that also dates back to like the 70s. In the 70s, there were a group of people that were kind of going against the grain and against what society thought was normal, with studs on their jackets and mohawks and colorful hair and the smudged eyeliner, or just playing around with that stuff a lot more. And you still, in the 2010s, you see some of those things come back, and kind of as an homage to that era. But then they also kind of had their own thing that they, like in the 2000s, 2010, that we added to it. So it also was, I should say, challenging gender norms too. So unisex makeup,
Totally.
women were,
the outfits were like the same for boys and girls. Like you could just give, like I do remember that, like having friends at that time that were guys, and then we would just like trade accessories,
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And like unisex makeup. I mean, I didn't really know men that wore makeup as much, but I mean, even today you see it, or like nail polish, things like that. But then women too, women were wearing a lot of men's things like
Right.
ties, like Avril Lavigne would wear like a tank top. Ribbed white tanks were traditionally meant for men, but she wore them with a black bra underneath and then like the tie around it.
Avril Lavigne, I fucking loved her so much.
Me too. Which that is a whole nother topic. Have you heard of that conspiracy of Avril Lavigne?
Oh, did she like die and it's a clone or something like that?
And they like replaced her with somebody, is what they say. I don't know too much about it. I just remember hearing that like conspiracy. And then it's just basically trying to make a statement against conformity. So you would see those like plaid skirts that girls would wear too, which was essentially being rebellious from like school uniforms. Instead, I'm going to take this and I'm going to wear it with fishnets and like a chunky belt, and just kind of take those things and rework them into making a point against society.
Can I say
and like
something?
norms.
And I don't know if you're probably going to talk about this. You already talked about skinny jeans. To me, that like totally embodies what you're saying, because I remember in 8th grade, 13 years old. So I was seeing like my friend that I was really close with at the time, she got skinny jeans, and she was like the first person in our class to wear them. And then I got skinny jeans, and it was just like us embodying this. We wanted to look seen. We wanted to look emo. And skinny jeans, like those were shocking to the core for people at the time, because everyone wore like flare or somewhat baggier jeans, and skinny jeans that were tight all the way down to the ankle. Like, oh my gosh, the audacity, or like, you know what I mean? Right. And I don't know that like maybe Gen Z or younger people understand that that's where skinny jeans started. It's like in this culture.
For sure. Yeah. And I still love a skinny jean.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that dates me, but I do have more flare and like whatever jeans in my wardrobe now, but I don't know. They're still comfy to me. So maybe it's the nostalgia.
Yeah. I don't know. I think once you get used to not wearing them anymore, then to me, that idea sounds awful.
Oh,
like,
really?
I don't know. I don't
well, I guess I only buy like jeggings if I'm going to, where they're like the stretchier ones.
I like how like baggy jeans now, it almost feels like I'm just wearing sweatpants. I'm like,
that's
this
fair.
is fine.
That's fair. Yeah. But exactly, you wanted to stand out. I remember that same person like dyeing their hair different and also wearing like the dark makeup, which you just didn't see. And also kind of being like a little bit, I don't want to say unruly in class or whatever, because they weren't like a bad person, student or something, but like just trying to kind of, stand out,
rebel,
I guess.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, rebel.
No, we did. We just like, we're just kind of moody on purpose.
Yeah. Yes. Yep, exactly. But even like the, studs you might see on like a jacket, or like that studded belt, that was a huge thing, I feel like back then. The interesting sort of thing about that is that studs in history were used to kind of like an armor situation where it's protection for you, but also keeps people away from you, which I think is a really good metaphor for this whole era, I guess.
Sure.
Kind of. I don't know. Does that make
Back
sense?
off, basically.
Yeah. Back off and stay away from me. Do you also remember, this came up and I was like, whoa, I totally forgot about this. You would get 2 black silicone jelly bracelets.
Oh, yeah.
And then you like merged them together. You did that like one thing and you wore it around your wrist. I was like, whoa, I forgot about that.
The jelly bracelets in general were a phase, but then in like the emo culture, whatever, it was definitely more leaning towards the black ones and tying it specifically the way that you just said.
Yes.
Which is going to be hard to picture if you don't know what we're talking about, but.
And also just like, striped socks, you would see like tall striped socks, fishnetting, wearing vests over t-shirts, which vests were like primarily a male piece of clothing or for people that dress, I don't know, masculine or whatever you want to say. But women kind of took it and made it their own too, which is I definitely had a vest that I wore over
Same.
t-shirts back then. And then do you remember like those thick chunky skateboarding shoes that people had? Yeah. Yeah, which like practically is not smart for actually skateboarding, I feel like, but for some reason, that was a big deal. Obviously Converse and Vans were a pretty big deal back then. I didn't buy my first Converse until about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I love them. And my first Vans too was like 2 years ago, just because like I never could afford it growing up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get them now. And I love them. And they're great. Awesome. You have some really nice ones too.
Well, they're not real Converse, but I got some that I just like the way they look.
That style, yeah.
But yeah, I had some Vans more so in like middle school and high school. Specifically, the Vans that were so cool were like the ones that had the checkered pattern.
Oh, yes. Yep.
And I had like a rainbow checkered pattern.
Ooh.
But there was like the black and white ones were really popular.
Those are very popular. I have that right now, but I have like the tan version just because my wardrobe is mostly browns and neutrals and tans, and I love them. But yes, you would see those a lot. People would wear those to the ground, basically.
And like draw on them too, I think was like a really big thing. Like you would draw like a little heart or a peace symbol or smiley face or something, you know?
Yep.
That was pretty big.
Or have your friends draw on it.
Right.
Then, that was a big deal. Mine, I didn't have Vans, but think of that style. They were probably from like Payless or something like that. And I had a phase where during this time I was really obsessed with stars.
Okay.
And so my quote unquote Vans, but like my slip-on shoes, they're white with like rainbow stars all around.
Cute.
Yeah. Interesting time for clothing and whatnot. And it's interesting how it evolved, I guess, into this era.
I was going to say other clothing items that I specifically remember was like the t-shirts, right? A lot of times they'd be band t-shirts, but a lot of different things, like a screen printed tee that you'd go into like Hot Topic and you see like their whole wall of t-shirts was like the best place ever.
Yes.
Or Delia's was a really big one too.
Forgot about Delia's. Are they still around?
I don't think so. I think they're a relic of the past at this point. But I had this specific shirt from Delia's that I was just like over the moon excited about. And it was a black shirt with like the rib cage on it. Basically, it looked like, I don't know, it kind of looked like you had an x-ray on or something. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
It had like a heart. And I was obsessed with that shirt. And I think I'm going to send you a picture of me wearing that shirt because it's just like full embodiment of what we're talking about today. And you can show everyone.
I love it. Yes, I know. I remember going into Hot Topic and you would see the bands that only you and your friends seem to know about. Like you'd see their t-shirts
like
on
Play
the wall.
Radio Play or like
or like
just what we aim for.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot more of like the lesser known band t-shirts there,
which stuff that wasn't really on the radio, you know?
Yes,
you had to go on MySpace to hear it, essentially.
Yes, exactly. And that's a huge part of all of this. Like that's MySpace and the internet really made this era because people could go out and find small independent artists and make them big or follow them and just become a hardcore fan until they made it big. And it really kind of drove that, I feel like.
Yeah.
I actually didn't have a MySpace though.
I was big on MySpace.
I know, I remember you. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a lot of people on our MySpaces.
Yeah. It was a big deal. It was a big deal
MySpace
back
queens over here.
I think I was still on MSN Messenger, and
Mhm.
that was as far as I got onto that side of thing, which is not even close to MySpace. But one of the most defining traits of the 2000s pop punk era was how personal and relatable those lyrics felt. Songs often centered on that teenage angst or heartbreak or insecurity or rebellion, themes that just kind of would resonate with young listeners trying to make sense of growing up and figuring out who they are and whatnot. I still to this day really love like emotional lyric songs a lot. Yeah, it just kind of, I don't know. Those are the ones that always stand out to me for some reason.
Fair.
So like think of Blink-182's All the Small Things, Simple Plans, I'm Just a Kid. Remember that song?
Yep.
I'm
just a kid.
Wait, no. I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare.
Yeah.
They became, those generational anthems, capturing those emotions and frustrations during that time. Or I Miss You by Blink-182. That was that one I really liked. Or First Date. It's a classic too. So getting into a little bit of the emo versus pop punk. So in the 2000s, emo focused on deeper emotional lyrics, complex structures of the song, but were often softer or like slower textured sounds. Emotional, emotional, kind of a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, basically.
It really reminds me of like Death is what am I talking about?
Death is what we aim for.
Yeah. That would be great. Let's get that mashup in the works. Death Cab for Cutie. I feel like resonates with what you're saying there. Like I feel like when I would listen to their songs, it was very like all about the lyrics and like very simple like acoustic guitar a lot of the time. Yeah.
Slower a little bit.
Like literally not even that long ago with Dwight, and we were in the car. Death Cab for Cutie was on, a very old song of theirs, and Dwight was just like, oh my god, this song is so emo. I was like, yes, it literally is.
Do you remember which one it was?
Not really, but there's like a few that usually come up for me, so it would have been like maybe A Lack of Color, or
I Will Follow You Into the Dark,
or I Will Follow You Into the Dark. Those are like the three that usually come up for me.
Yeah. I remember I Will Follow You Into the Dark was a big one that I listened over and over again. So emo, more emotional, more like, it's not slow. What am I trying to say? Like softer, like acoustic, less of like a rock, like electric guitar. Yeah. Upbeat.
Like I was saying, like it just kind of had more about the simple instruments, I feel.
Yes. Yep. While pop punk was the more upbeat energy, maybe a bit more simple in general, something that you can dance to was kind of their aim. The genres heavily overlapped with bands like Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance, bridging the gap with emo, raw emotion, and that era's like mainstream sound. So again, that's why there's a lot of debate, like who's considered emo, who's considered emo pop, who's considered pop punk, who's considered alternative, who's considered indie. Is just like there's so many things.
I feel like sometimes people just need to relax with all of that. It's just like, can't they just be their own thing?
Right. Well, and I also think some albums of one band might be one thing, and another album might be another thing. Like it might be more emo at the beginning, and then they just kind of switch over into more of like the upbeat music. I just, I don't know. We don't have to categorize everything. So then around 2004 and 2005, emo and pop punk merged, creating what we now call like emo pop or just emo. So again, like the Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, Paramore blended some of these, basically like the big things of each of these. One thing that was interesting is that there was a lot of
discussion.
There's a lot of discussion around the topic that some of these bands that got bigger, they went mainstream, so to speak, was exactly the opposite of what they stood for. Like
Panic at the Disco, I could see people criticizing for that or something.
Yeah, a couple more were mentioned. Like some of these artists would come out with their own like clothing brand and stuff, and like some fans would be like, that's a capitalism and blah, blah, like, or they would, sell out, so to speak, is kind of what fans would say, versus the overall attraction to them, I think initially was that they were kind of obscure and their own thing. And granted, you got to make money. These people got to make money. Right. So to keep making music. So I don't know. That was just like a big debate that kind of came up too, is like these bands would sell out. Yeah. Or make songs that were like more for the radio, less for what they typically would do. So anyway, so why did pop punk explode when it did? So in the early 2000s teen culture, there was a lot of post 9/11 anxiety, which I thought was interesting because we grew up around that, in that time.
Yeah.
And then suburban boredom as well. Mall culture. There's, you're going to malls a lot more. You would watch MTV and TRL. And like we talked about MySpace, bands would go semi-viral before viral was even a thing. And also at that time, I remember doing a lot of burned CDs and LimeWire. Do you remember LimeWire?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
So like illegally doing some of that. I will not, maybe I shouldn't say that, but
I think Erin, I'm going to give you some clarity here. Every person that lived during that time period pirated music. Like that was just the norm, and nobody is going to come and arrest you now for something that you did when you were 12 and 13 years old.
Okay.
Everybody did it. Okay. LimeWire. Everyone listening to this knows what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yep. Remember, it would take like a half hour to download one song from LimeWire.
I don't necessarily remember that, but I believe you.
Maybe it was me because I was out in the country and I had really slower internet.
What I was going to say is I just remember like a lot of times the file that you would have would be like a weird version of the song. And so like there's certain songs that play, like I'll listen, on Spotify or something now, and I'm like still expecting that like weird outro to the song, or like, do you know what I mean?
They'd start off and they like whoever originally copied it or something would put their own thing. It'd be like the equivalent of you downloaded let's just say like a One Direction song, and then Bull was the one who did it, and he goes, Mr. Worldwide, like at the beginning.
Right.
That's not a good analogy, but that's like the best I can think of.
Right.
Like, just like they would just throw in their little promotion at the beginning of the song or the end, or make it about them, I guess. That was a really bad analogy. I feel like I can come up with a better one.
I think we all get what you're saying, though.
So the rise of the internet obviously played a huge role in pop punk's 2000 takeoff. YouTube also kind of came around a bit shortly after that, made it easier as well for fans to discover, share, and support new music. So that's kind of how it basically boomed in this time. There's also that tie to mental health with this topic that I was curious about. So it gave language to feelings that kids didn't maybe know how to express yet. So before talk therapy was common, these bands would hand listeners words for like loneliness or self-doubt or not fitting in or panicking or anxiety. Sadness was loud and not hidden. So the genre normalized being visibly not okay. Crying at shows, yelling lyrics until your voice cracked, wearing your mood on your sleeve. Pain wasn't, whispered or hush-hush about it. It was more like amplified and shared, and you got like that connection feeling with some of the if you were feeling that way, It also helped kids feel less alone without really fixing anything. So it rarely offered, like solutions. It was more like just sat with that feeling and said like, yeah, I get that. This sucks.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, that was just kind of like enough to be like, yeah, there are others around me.
Yeah.
who feel the same way. And that's comforting enough for me right now,
Yeah. I feel like some of this... in this time period, there was some dark stuff on the internet. I feel like obviously there still is a lot of dark stuff on the internet. Yeah. But we just lived in a time where people were figuring out what the internet is. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people our age were exposed to things that maybe they shouldn't have been because parents didn't know sometimes that this stuff was out there, or that we had
It's not their
access to
fault.
it, or that no, it's not. It's just like we were all
new.
navigating this new world together.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is where you're saying like there wasn't unfortunately solutions a lot of the time. Like we were exposed to this stuff, and then people kind of embodied that idea, like I'm emo, and I think I just remember like seeing stuff where people would find like internet forums, and I don't know if you should include this or not, but if you want to, you can, and if you do, you should probably include some trigger warnings here.
Trigger warning. The next segment does include talks of unaliving, suicide, and self-harm. Please listen with care or feel free to skip ahead.
But I'm just thinking of like forums that people found where it's like people would encourage each other to like commit suicide.
Oh, yeah. Or self-harm at the very least.
Self-harm, yep, and suicide. And I think it kind of like there's a period of time where that stuff was glorified a little bit. Like, look at me, I'm so emo, I have to do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it has good things of like community and feeling like you're not alone, but then there obviously is a darker side to it all too, for sure. And that's going to be with like anything. Like look at, people using ChatGPT as therapy right now. Even that is like telling them to do bad things. It's totally. And some people find it helpful, it just depends.
I think that maybe the only like saving grace with that is that hopefully people that, have already lived through this time period can say like, okay, just, I don't know, be careful, or like think about these things a little bit more. I don't know. I think hopefully our generation has like been exposed enough now to what the internet is so that we can like warn the younger people. I don't know.
Yeah, but now it seems like it's the wild, wild west out there. Because like at the time there was only a certain amount of, YouTubers that you would follow. And now it's like you can find anything right in the world that you want. So it's harder to be like, don't listen to this or something. I don't know. You can still warn them, but it's like even with kids having like Snapchat, like parents don't see that. That kind of stuff goes on there all the time too. And
True.
It's wild out there. I'm glad that we grew up in the time that we did, honestly.
Yeah.
Like growing like up with the internet and learning it as it evolved versus having social media from elementary school on or something.
Yeah. I don't know. There's pros and cons.
Feel that way? Yeah.
I don't know. I think there are pros and cons. Like I said, we were the discoverers. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Pros and cons.
Pros and cons for sure.
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah. Okay, some other things tying to mental health was that masculinity got rewritten, I should say. So male singers were openly admitting to fear or jealousy or insecurity or the heartbreak without losing credibility, because we all know that historically society has kind of forced men to suppress emotions.
Right.
So for a lot of people, obviously this is a generalization, it's not for everyone. This was sort of the first time that vulnerability looked powerful instead of like being ashamed of it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I can see that. I would. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that was interesting, I might take this out, but touring culture sort of damaged the people that were trying to create that comfort. So behind the scenes, artists were struggling with travel, financial instability, substance use, usually fan emotional dumping, and pressure to perform happiness while writing sadness took a real toll. Several would later speak out openly about depression, addiction, and burnout. I thought it was interesting because like the merch stand became a big deal for some of these bands. Like that's where you would meet people, and like if they were a smaller band at the time, they might be out there, and then it's like a fan might come up to them and say like, your song really helped me get through XYZ horrible thing, and it just became a lot for them to deal with. But
yeah, they weren't really trying to become therapists. They were trying to be entertainers and happy to relate to them. But like, yeah, they're not a therapist. They're not suited for that necessarily.
Exactly.
I think that's really interesting, and you should keep it in.
Okay. Fans use the music as a coping mechanism, like we talked about, sometimes it in healthy ways and sometimes not. For some, pop punk became emotional regulation, that identity, that escape. And then other people, it felt like maybe a darker side. It felt like when it went mainstream then and became these like huge bands and more people knew about them, it felt like they were maybe losing that community or that support system, or maybe it got too saturated, or just there's healthy and non-healthy ways for some of this, like we talked about.
And like you said, a lot of people thought that those bands were like selling out.
Yep. Also, so like the scene didn't always know how to protect its most vulnerable people. So while these conversations about mental health were happening, there was no rule book. It was unstructured. There were no boundaries, no safeguards. There's sort of a lack of support. Like, yes, I feel these emotions. Now what? Nowadays, therapy is a lot, obviously, more common, and it's a lot more openly talked about. Obviously, people did it back then too, but I think now there's a bit more of like, if you're feeling this, this may help, kind of giving you tools. You know,
definitely, therapy is absolutely way more normalized now than it used to be. Everyone talks about like their therapist, and yeah,
exactly. And so initially when it was that unstructured, that lack of support would lead to the more of like sometimes the harm that only would kind of come to light years later, which is sad. But looking back, the honesty was sort of radical too. So by today's standards, some lyrics felt really like blunt or dramatic, or, you know, like even reckless. But at the time, they made it possible for later generations to then talk about mental health more clearly, more safely, a little bit more straightforward, I think, in a lot of ways. And the legacy lives on in how people talk now. So I have pop punk walked so modern mental health discourse could run. But
that makes sense.
You can trace today's, again, openness in music directly back to kids screaming about feeling broken and refusing to be, you know, like silent about it. Today, you might think of what are some of the artists out there? Machine Gun Kelly. I'm honestly, I'm a little bit behind on some of this stuff. They talked about like how Olivia Rodrigo came out with her song and it was very Paramore-esque in a lot of ways.
I like Olivia Rodrigo a lot, actually.
Me too. Yeah. And Young Blood's another one. I'm sure that there's a million out there that I just don't know about. But it's not necessarily having like a revival, but you're seeing it kind of back in the mainstream a little bit more again here and there. I still think that pop is like the number one, obviously, but like, I don't know.
No, I think that you're right here with the revival thing, because I remember in they called it, okay, so from like 2009-ish till I would say like 2015 or so. I forget what that music era is called, but they talked about how that was it was a lot of like upbeat dance music. So think of like Black Eyed Peas and like I'm trying to think of other songs, like a lot of Lady Gaga and Kesha, these party songs, right?
Yeah.
That was all a backlash to recession era.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. I remember watching a couple of videos on that at some point.
Like the world needs like upbeat, happy right now things to make, to get energy out or whatever. Yeah.
I think around 2016 or so, maybe even later, maybe like 2018. But I just remember noticing some more like interesting sounds on the radio again, and like some more stuff that I felt like actually I enjoyed a little bit more again. Because I think somewhere between like 2012 to 2018 or whatever, it was just like a lot of music that I was just like, whatever, all this is just nothing I'm interested in. You know?
Yeah.
And now I feel like I like it a little bit more again.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. It does like, just these things evolve over time, not only on the radio, so to speak, but also for yourself, I think, too. I mean, I think a lot of kids are like, these days are going back and listening to even like 70s rock a lot of the time. Or, you know, there's a time and place for each of these eras, and it doesn't have to stay in the era that it came from, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more like it's not so linear now.
Yes. Yep. And we have the access to it too. Like we have the access to go back. I mean, not that you couldn't go buy a, CD from the 70s when it was 2000, but like it's a lot easier to.
Yeah. You don't have to put money down to do that either. Yep,
exactly. So yeah, it's an interesting topic. I wanted to list some of my favorite songs and bands. And some of these might be cringe, but I don't care.
Not cringe.
Dashboard Confessional was a big one.
That's a name I remember.
I still, to this day, love the song Hands Down by Dashboard Confessional. Stolen's a good one as well. Was Dear Maria Count Me In? Was that Dashboard as well?
I didn't really listen to Dashboard.
No, that's All Time Low. That's All Time Low. Whoops, I had that wrong. Death Cab for Cutie, I talked about. I'll Follow You Into the Dark. That's on here. Paramore, really anything, but shout out to Ignorance. For a pessimist, I'm pretty optimistic. Those were kind of some of my big ones, but I just loved a lot of Paramore. My Chemical Romance, Black Parade was a big deal. Do you remember when that came out? It was like a shift. People were like, whoa. I don't know. I just remember it being a...
Oh, yeah. Our other Erin in our group was obsessed with that, I remember.
Yeah. And she was obsessed with Simple Plan too, right? Was that the other one? Yeah. The Main I really liked. They were a little bit later, like 2009. Into Your Arms was one. I actually have listened to some of their recent stuff too and still really like it. We the Kings, Check Yes Juliet. Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, Face Down. Boys Like Girls, The Great Escape, and 5 Minutes to Midnight. And I was a big Hey Monday fan as well. And the singer from Hey Monday, she actually pivoted and went into country music for a while. And then when I was doing research on this, I was reading that she's going back to her pop punk roots, which would be fun to listen to. But yeah, any songs? I mean, I know we kind of talked about some of them, but anything else that kind of stands out for you?
I want to pull up my Spotify real quick.
Do it.
Because I don't know how you listen to your music, but I kind of just have this giant playlist of all the songs that I like that I claim are, mine.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll just listen to it on shuffle. So a lot of these songs that we're talking about, I do genuinely still listen to. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be kind of a mess to go through this really quick, but let me just see what I can find. I know I did say Cute Is What We Aim For and
Death Cab for Cutie.
Play Radio, Death Cab for Cutie, Hello Goodbye. Oh, Modest Mouse is a big one. Let me see. There's some other ones. Yeah.
Panic.
Yeah, Panic.
All Time Low was a big one for me too. That was later on, I feel like.
I feel like those are the big ones. There's some other artists that I feel aren't really emo or pop punk. I'm Ingrid Michaelson is somebody that totally came from MySpace, but she's, I don't know, what do you even call her? I think those are really the big ones for me. I hope somebody else listening can relate. And
indie pop or folk pop artist is what Ingrid Michaelson is.
Okay, and that's kind of what I said at the beginning. Yeah. Indie pop is really what I loved a lot, but I dressed very scene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many. Taking Back Sunday, Reliant K, All American Rejects, Good Charlotte, Motion City Soundtrack.
Oh, yeah, I loved Motion City Soundtrack. That's a good one.
Mayday Parade, Jimmy Eat World, Offspring, Yellow Card, Simple Plan, like I mentioned, Green Day, obviously, big one. Yeah, and again, I feel like that this sort of era just is still a major part of me.
Oh, here's another one. Actually, I don't know. Mika. So it's funny because you know how sometimes now with TikTok songs will go viral that were literally they're old songs.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it's viral again.
Yep.
So Mika went viral maybe a year or two ago for Grace Kelly, which is such an old song.
I remember that song.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's what people would probably know him for. But I remember listening to him back when I had a MySpace.
Yeah, there you go. So I just wanted to end it with just saying, summarizing in conclusion, pop punk was more than music. It was a lifeline for a lot of people, a community, a permission slip to feel feel loudly. Whether you were moshing at Warped Tour or sharing burned CDs with friends or screaming the lyrics in your bedroom, it left a mark that's still felt today, at least for a lot of people. What's your favorite pop punk anthem? Let us know. And I'm just curious if anyone also knows any bands that I'm sure there's a lot that are around today that maybe have a similar vibe to this era as well. Mm-hmm. I'd like to get back into it. but definitely shaped who I am today.
Totally. Well, that was fun. It really was. I
Okay,
feel
good.
like I just went down memory lane, and I don't know. I love nostalgia and reflecting, and it's fun to just kind of have this conversation because my husband doesn't relate to this at all.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Like, he just did not grow up with any of what we're talking about right now. So I wonder if he'll even find it interesting. But it's just fun, like, to be able to talk about this with somebody that knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say is that I have to change my topic for next week.
Oh, no.
Because it is almost too similar.
Oh, no.
Because
I'm sorry.
no, that's fine. That's fine. I haven't started researching yet.
You just had the
So yeah, I
topic.
had the idea in my head, and it was really funny that your topic actually was a little similar. So it's really not like I probably could do it, but one thing that Erin and I have talked about before is that we try to kind of keep it a little bit different week to week. I know sometimes it's not like that, but just in general. And so yeah, I don't want to do my topic next week because it'll be too similar. But I think it's kind of fun that you did this because it might be a good intro to that topic when I get to it.
Okay. All right.
So I don't have a hint for you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm excited to hear it either way, whatever you decide on.
Yeah.
Also, they still do Warped Tour or like these bringing back these old bands. And I want to go to it sometime. So if you ever want to.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
And I need to take this makeup off because this is not my look. PJ was like, "You look like pictures I used to see of you in high school." And I'm like, "Yeah, that was the vibe I was going for."
That's so funny. Yeah.
Kind of fun though. Fun to switch it up.
It's funny too. So like, I know you're saying you try to like swoop your bangs over. We were so committed to our side parts and everything. And it was funny because when I was actually doing my hair for today's episode, like I don't know, like I was like, I feel like my middle part still sometimes wants to gravitate to one side because of how long and dedicated we were to our parted hair.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. And Gen Z makes fun of us for the skinny jeans and the side parts. So I know I normally have it in the middle now too. Yeah, I'm sure it will. I don't know. I mean, I feel like our shag hairstyle too is a little bit of like an homage to that era. Like,
oh, definitely.
Haley Williams had like the, like the volume here, and then it was like straight. Like, if I could, I'm not.
No, you're totally reminding me of something that like maybe you do need to put a picture here for this, but like this hair that was so big on MySpace. It was the scene hair with the really big, like it would be, volume on top, like you said. You would have the shortest little layers, which, like you said, my layers back here are so short. I actually need to get a trim, so some of these aren't that short, and my hair is really long. But yeah, like the really short layers that you would fluff up, so your hair was so big on top, and then the tiniest little straight hair on, like your hair would be long, but like it would be straight on the bottom. And then people had these like stripes. Do you remember the stripes?
That's what I was just gonna say. It was like
that. I wanted that so freaking bad, but I was too young, and my mom wouldn't let me.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, I don't think that I was allowed to do it either, which is why for a long time I had my pink in my hair.
Yeah,
that I just got rid of. But it was like blonde and black, like like bright blonde.
Did let me do that.
Oh, really?
I had the bleach blonde hair and black underneath.
What?
It'll be in the picture I send you.
Okay.
Of my that I told you to put in here earlier.
Okay.
But my hair style now is totally an homage to that. And I remember when I started going to my hairstylist, talking to her about that. I was like, I wasn't able to do this when I was 13, so let's do it now. Cut those layers as short as you can.
Yes, I know. I still do it too. Yeah. When Danny and I met up for the first time again in a while, we were both like, oh, we both have shag haircuts.
Yeah.
We both somehow ended up with that as well. It just feels fitting. I don't know. My hair's too thin though, so I can't grow it much longer than this, but I still like the choppy layers.
Yeah, it looks great.
Maybe I'll bring the pink back. We'll see.
I know. I have been itching to do something a little different too.
I know.
So, all right. That was a big tangent, but important. And I'm glad that we were able to talk about the hair because that actually is huge with that. So that was very fun. Thank you so much.
Hopefully it was nostalgic for other people too. Millennials and Gen X.
I hope that either you feel nostalgic towards it or you learned something.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree that it's very influential for us.
Yeah. And again, let us know what your 2000s, 2010s-ish anthem was at the time. I'm curious.
And until next week, I hope that you embrace the spiral, stay curious, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.
Erin and Danny, two lifelong best friends, take turns picking topics, then they see